Hmm. Well, hello everybody. How are you all doing this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever it is, wherever you are? I hope you're all doing fantastic. As you can probably see before you, I have an outrageously crazy McDonald's feast. There is approximately zero possibility that I will eat all of this. However, the deals were good today. And with fast food, that doesn't happen too often. All of this massive smorgasbord was $15 in store, or $15.62 or whatever. $5.99 for the big breakfast. Couple of bucks for the sausage McMuffin, plus an additional one for $1. And then, of course, my own personal touch. I like a sausage egg McMuffin, not just a sausage McMuffin. I'm willing to do a little bit of work. There's a little bit of irony right now for this being my next video. Because I was recently, excuse me, inspired by McDonald's absurd prices to make my own chicken snap wraps, which worked out wonderfully, by the way. Wouldn't have it any other way. But it's the beginning of my weekend. And it was a long week. So I am justifying myself a McDonald's breakfast feast. Gotta get my bowl of sugar to dip my sugar pancakes in. These things are great, though. I don't know what kind of magic they use in here, but the consistency, the fluffiness. I'm gonna take me a McDonald's pancake. So what's going on, everybody? How we doing out there? Everything going decent on your end of the world? Your corner of the kingdom? Your step on the ladder? Your ball in the ball pit? Anyway. Cooper. Always and forever. I have a very low-key day planned. I'm gonna very nonchalantly do chores around the house. I am going to enjoy the rest of this meal with you. We are going to chat some more about movies. To all of my sensitive-eared ones, I am parched. It is time for the Coca-Cola. You know it was going to be here. 3, 2, 1. My goodness, nothing better. No better thing in the world, I think. So, let's get into these pancakes a little more. What do y'all think about McDonald's breakfast? If you're careful and you don't use DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, and you go in store and you pay attention to the kiosks, because of course, why would we want humans serving us anymore? I guess I'll just enter my order into the kiosk. You probably can see how I feel about that. But if you do pay attention, you can find some really cool, like, buy one item, get one free. Buy this item, get the next one for $1 or half off or yada yada yada. You get the point. You can find some decent stuff. So let's finish this hash brown right here, because my goodness, I'm tearing through these hash browns. Oh my goodness, I could eat them in 2.5 bites stacked on top of each other. This is just nothing in the world like them. You want to be a lunatic? Take these bad boys, throw them in your air fryer for an additional 5 minutes, get them super crunchy. It's just the same thing, but better. One sandwich and a couple of hash browns in, and I'm already feeling my capacity limitations. But you all know that about. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? You know I had to do it. Had to show it off. Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead. You better watch out for Pumpkinhead, unless you're tired of living. If you know, you know. Pumpkinhead, one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. No hyperbole there, although you will hear me say that a lot because I do like a lot of movies. very forgiving to movies. I enjoy them probably more than most people do for more reasons than most do. And I'm at peace with enjoying ones that people think are whatever. But this is not a whatever one. Pumpkinhead is an all-time great creature feature, practical effects, extravaganza, I have those every day, extravaganzas, and the great Stan Winston sole directorial feature film. I do think he went on to do some anthology work later on. But Stan Winston is one of the great special effects wizards of our time, and this was his big shot, and he knocked it out of the park. One of the most iconic monsters in the history of horror that does not get mentioned enough next to the other greats like Michael, Leatherface, Jason, Chucky, Pinhead, and so on and so forth. Shout out to Pumpkinhead for being another one of those movies I watched when I was way too young. So, speaking of movies that I watched that I was way too young, that I had no idea, we're going to start out with my first movie in today's theme. Can you guess what it is after one or two movies? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Another childhood favorite of mine, the Super Mario live action movie. As I go through this slightly larger stack than the last couple of times, I won't spend too long on each movie, but this was a cult classic for a reason. It's a fever dream of everything you thought about the Mushroom Kingdom on real mushrooms. The story, the iconic, legendary story of the development heck. Did I just say development heck? The algorithms are training me. Development hell that they stayed in for quite some time. The insane on-set antics, the complete madness of the movie itself. If you've seen the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie, you know. But another integral one in my childhood. I can't count how many times I've watched this, and to now have it on 4K in this psychotic premium mega edition that I have called the 1-Up edition. What world are we living in? It's a beautiful one. So let's go ahead and jump right into another one real quick. A Street Fighter. You again, if you know, you know. Raul Julia stole the show, iconic in every way, literally dying, and steals away every moment of screen time for among the most glorious things put on screen in a 90s, 80s slash action video game nonsense dumpster fire that this gem is. It's so hard to put into words how much cocaine they must have been on for this one. So let's give you one more to find out the theme of the video. Oh, test your might. Dun 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 dun. That's all I got to say. One of the all-time greats. Oh, and I'm sorry. Your brother's soul is mine. You will be next. Shang Tsung. Good stuff. Mortal Kombat. And then, of course, there's Mortal Kombat Annihilation. The less we talk about this one, but the better. But, you know, if you view this as one of those absolutely ridiculous Saturday morning cartoon, over-the-top, outrageous live-action style movies, there's some fun to be had. Let's get a little more chow in, shall we? In case you hadn't noticed, the theme is video game movies, specifically live action. We could go a whole different route and do animated ones. But these are all theatrically released live action video game movie adaptations. And yeah, this is what I have nearby is exactly to the movie half of my collection. So you're bound to find some gems in here. We'll see though. Let me know if you've been enjoying this little diversion I've been taking. I've always wanted to incorporate movies into my videos. In fact, some of my earliest videos, maybe 13, 14 years ago, the earliest ASMR videos I did were movie overviews, I suppose. Whispered movie overviews. Go check some of them out if you're interested. I mean, they're back there. They ain't going anywhere, but I like to every once in a while pop in on a random one to see where my mind was at the time. So much as you can suss out from a 13, 14-year-old video about Fight Club on Blu-ray or something. Oh, Angelina, you did it so well. While a lot of elements of this haven't aged as well as you would imagine they could have, as an adaptation of a PS1 video game with virtually no story and an Indiana Jones adjacent adventures, this is just a lot of fun. Don't take it seriously. I don't have the sequel, weirdly enough. I'm not sure why exactly. When I was putting this together, I noticed that I didn't. But it's just as fun. Maybe a little bit more big budget and over the top, but two real gems with these Tomb Raider flicks. The first of many. Ooh, sorry about that. The first of many, we have Resident Evil. Paul W.S. Anderson is, oh my goodness. I shudder to say that he's a bit of a hack, but I feel like he might be a bit of a hack. The problem is he has done some absolute gems. The sci-fi masterpiece, Event Horizon, this weird but somehow spiritually correct adaptation of the Resident Evil games. We'll see about the sequels. But this one has held up really well, and Paul Anderson can do some really good stuff. I think he also did Soldier with Kurt Russell, and that is a really underrated one. If he did it, I'm pretty sure he did. So yeah, Resident Evil, the first of many, many. That one holds up. Another one that holds up fairly decently outside of Jill Valentine. That one did not age so well performance-wise, but this one, again, really captures the spirit of the first couple of games. It's got Nemesis from the third game, and it feels like a natural evolution of what they did in the first movie, and still very competent. Confidently competent. A lot of great game references, a lot of whoa moments. Apocalypse, this is still a good one. Ha, 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 ha. And we come to Doom. I love this movie. It's a great popcorn, sci-fi, military action, horror adjacent. I like to use that word. Let's say horror tinged video game movie. Doom didn't really have a story. This kind of has a story, and it's a good story. This one's a lot of fun. If you have not seen this, it holds up really well. Really young Dwayne Johnson, really young Carl Urban. A lot of fun to be had here. As you're watching through this, think about some of the your favorite video game movies. They might be in the stack, or the other one in the collection, which will be for another video. And they might be one I'm missing. Let me know. What are your favorite video game to film adaptations? I won't lock you all into just live action. Anyone will do. Let me know which ones are your favorite. Now it is possible, definitely possible. We got a lot of us, I call us big back-minded folks out there. So you may well have seen what I hope to be something kind of cool. That is what I was going for. A little bit of that over medium yolk. Oh my goodness, what it does, the creaminess, how it offsets all of the salty, fatty components of the sandwich. Oh, sometimes those hacks work. Sometimes putting in 5 minutes of extra effort, oh, you could get something like that. My goodness. That is just glorious. They don't make eggs like that at McDonald's. I shouldn't have to. They don't do it. Very enthusiastic. Make sure our hands are extra clean for this one. You all know this already. This next one. Can you guess which one it is? Repeatedly, I've said it's one of my favorite movies of all time. All time. Regardless of genre. Silent Hill. I know that this film departs from the game story in some noticeable ways, but for all intents and purposes, it's about as perfect an adaptation as you can get. And I feel like the switch from Harry Mason to Rose da Silva as the primary paternal driving force of the movie was a really, really, really smart move. It adds some nice textures of maternal instinct and maternal love, which was present still in the movie by Sean Bean's immaculate side story where he searches desperately for his family. So that is still present, but we get Rose, who's a phenomenal actress by the name of Radha Mitchell. She's sort of a low-key scream queen that doesn't get a lot of her, oh my goodness, blanking on that word. She doesn't get her laurels for what she does in the genre. And I think this is a great example. She is fantastic. Watch her in Pitch Black as well. And I feel like there's another really good one. Is it called The Darkness? That has like a 0% for critical rating, but really good stuff. We'll cross that bridge another time, though. Silent Hill. We got another Resident Evil. Extinction. This was the last great one. I would even say this is still really good. The series just jumps the shark into absolute nonsensical territory later on, and I almost have very little to say about the later sequels because of how insubstantial they are. But Extinction was cool. You know, you got to see the effects of the virus spreading across the world. You get to see how the world would react to this hyper-controlled environment that a lot of them live in, this desperate Mad Max sort of wasteland of a world. Yeah, it's cool stuff. Not bad at all. Last one for this wave. Let's do Hitman. You know, this movie's okay. It's not bad at all. It is victim of being very much one of those mid to late 2000 gaming adaptations, which were very soft and took very little risks, but I think Timothy Oliphant played a great Hitman. I think the movie was entertaining from start to finish. Just a little, just a little soft, a little C minus, little bit unremarkable for such a cool concept with such a storied gaming history. So not bad. Certainly better than one you'll see later on. Let's get another bite or two, shall we? Let's not forget the meal in front of us. That iconic breakfast plate sauce, the yolk, hot sauce, ketchup, syrupy mixture of goodness. Oh boy. This next run, I'm going to go a little quicker through because we got a lot of so-so stuff coming your way. In the Name of the King, Jason Statham, you bowl drivel, nonsense, nonsensical. Acting is horrendous. Budget somehow is really high, but looks disgustingly cheap. I mean, everything the dude makes is trash. You can somewhat ironically enjoy Alone in the Dark, but I wouldn't worry about this one. Another so-so decent, somewhat middling 2000s video game adaptation. Yeah, you know, it's got some of the fun noirish elements of Max Payne. But this is one of the all-time great gaming characters with some just benchmark games, benchmark stories. And I don't know if it was done justice here, but it exists, and that's kind of cool. Maybe they'll take another stab at it one day. Mark Wahlberg did a darn decent job with his skill set that he had available to him. This one's, again, another C. So-so. It's okay. And then this one's, again, another interesting movie. Maybe a somewhat misguided in certain areas, like all of its casting. But Jake Gyllenhaal, fantastic actor, somewhat young in his, maybe not young in his career because he started so young, but still relatively up and coming and trying to prove himself. And this was a big budget, maybe not disaster, but it was certainly a choice for an up and coming star that really just wanted to get his name out there. And at the end of the day, we know Jake loves to do his indie movies and his thrillers and his less commercial, more immersive roles. And I can't say he did a bad job just trying to run through the studio system, literally run and jump around through the studio system. So, you know, Prince of Persia, it is what it is. Let's do a twofer here. Just nonsense, total utter nonsense. And make no mistake, these are still entertaining movies, but they're so just unnecessary. It doesn't drive any character growth, any franchise's fatigue is in full effect with these two movies for sure. While they were doing some interesting stuff, it's just so far away from Resident Evil at this point. I mean, it's almost unrecognizable as Resident Evil. They bring in actors to play the characters from the games, and some of it's okay. But you could see, like, at this point, you know, this series doesn't really have much to offer, and it's not even over yet. Epic mixed feelings on this one right here. Silent Hill Revelation. I followed this movie since it was a whisper of an idea because of how obsessively in love I am with the original movie. I was disappointed to hear Christoph Gans was not directing. MJ Bassett, she was a somewhat up-and-coming director who had done, I believe, directed James Purevoy in oh my goodness, I'm blanking on it. Was it Van Helsing? Was Van Helsing the one? I could be wrong. There's one or two movies that she had directed beforehand, but this one wasn't it. Half the budget of the original film, 5 times the ambition. There are times where you quite literally see shrink wrap, cling wrap from the grocery store, doubling as skin textures in this movie. So I sympathize with the struggles of making a title of any real significance with that kind of shoestring lunch money budget and that much ambition. So I feel like there could have been someone to rein in those ambitions and make something more in line with what they were able to make. It reminds me a lot of the so-so 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, the sequel to the fantastic vampire film. Was it bad? Yeah. Was it entertaining? Yeah. Did it have a lot to offer? Absolutely. There's a lot of good stuff in this. If you want to take a trip into Silent Hill and on the big screen or your screen, there are worse ways to spend your time. I would say play one of the games or all the games and maybe watch the original movie about 10 more times. But if you need a little bit of variety and you want to enter Silent Hill, Revelations, I mean, it's a D+ movie, but it has its fun. And then we will go ahead and finish up this over here. I think I'm getting to the tail end of my capacity right now. I really hope you've all been enjoying this different approach I've been taking, just messing around, you know. Things can get boring and it's nice to stay stimulated. Still need to shave. And then we have Duncan Jones' Warcraft. This is a solid flick. It blows my mind that a movie can make almost $500 million at the box office on a relatively expensive but still industry modest budget. With a fair amount of critical hype from fans of the game. And it never got a sequel. This movie was really a great starting point, a solid Warcraft origin story. Duncan Jones did a good job of moving around a huge studio production when he was very much used to the indie scene. His vision was clear. The effects were surprisingly good and hold up quite well. So here I am, holding on to Warcraft, watching it every once in a while and wondering who's making these decisions. The damn bean counters, that's who. Warcraft, this one's a decent one. And that's it for that stack. Let me know in the comments if you like any of the movies in particular. Let me know some of your favorite video game movies that I have not mentioned. I am going chronologically, so envision we're up to around, what was it? I actually don't really remember. Let's see, when was Warcraft put out? Let's see, does it tell you on here anymore? I feel like it used to. Well, you know, I want to say mid-2000, late 2000s, possibly 2010-ish, or a little later. I don't know. Anyway, holds up really well, solid stuff. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. I really appreciate everyone watching. I had a really solid 2 videos ago. The one that I just posted recently is doing well as well. So what does that mean? Who knows? Who cares? I just am happy that I am putting something up that some of you like to watch. One thing I did notice in my analytics, just out of curiosity, about 65% of my watchers are still unsubscribed. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like what you're watching? If you don't like what you're watching, keep watching. That's cool. Nothing wrong with a little hate watching every once in a while. Hit that thumbs up button, comment, do all of those things. I mention this only because there seems to be no other way to get people tuned into what this algorithm is doing. So I guess thumbs ups and follows and likes are cool to get the channel out there to 1 or 2 more people who might want to see it. So thank you for doing that if you already have. And as always, thanks for watching.